On Afternoon Tea today, we have Dr. Arnold Waine, and on Afternoon Tea, he will be talking about the benefits of healthy eating, and that's local food. Now, Doctor, tell us a bit about the benefits of having a healthy diet.
Yeah, thanks, Evelyn, again to take me on this time. Food, it's everyday thing, and when people ask me a question in a similar or of the same, I look and I think of so many good food naturally in Papua New Guinea food-wise. So Papua New Guinea is richly blessed with so many different varieties of food, but I can't mention all of them. But if you think about basic say science in primary school, they talk about protective food, energy food, and bodybuilding, all this. So those three, and then they put them. If you think about those primary school posters. So you think about all those good food that we have back in our villages, and so you can classify them into those three. Ideally, at what we need, the different age group, we need certain food for bodybuilding, energy, and so in the process also it protects us from the getting sicknesses. There are so many diseases right now current as a result of people eating so many different
Processed.
food, and so processed food, food that are processed, are factory made. Factory made basically they want to preserve, so they have a lot of additions, additives, salty, spicy, sugary, all this. So unlike the garden foods, this processed food goes into the body, and through what they call the metabolism, they produce a lot of rubbish. When I say rubbish, in terms of chemicals, and they are toxins. So these toxins then harms our body, and some of them classically they harm the defense of our body. They call them the white blood cells and the immunity. So when the immunities are weakened, or our immunities are weakened and are downgraded, sickness. It's equal basically to get a lot of diseases. So no wonder we have a lot of these diseases like diabetic, sick sugar, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, kidney failure, liver failure, cancers, of everything else. So food is a big factor in terms of the outcome, in terms of individual health. So when I want to go back and talk about food, I'm thinking about all those nutrients, vitamins that contain in typical iBeta. Typical Papua New Guineans greens like iBeta, they contain a lot of folic acids. They contain a lot of chemicals, vitamins, which energizes or gives strength to the immunity. At the same time, lifts the blood profile. They call it hemoglobin. So people are not anemic. It's a sickness. People are not so much of getting prone to get cancers because naturally they build up their body. I'm thinking about like broccoli, cauliflowers. I'm thinking about as I said, iBeta. And you think about the simple garden food. You find them not in the garden these days. You can find them in the markets. Typical Papua New Guinean markets on roadsides. I'm talking about garden food, not processed ones. So food is very important. And how much you take is another factor. That people, Papua New Guineans, when I look at Papua New Guineans, typical, we eat anytime. And we'd like to, for instance, if we don't eat twice or two times in a day, we tend to fill up, we call the mountain on a plate at the end of the day.
Is that healthy?
It's not healthy. You're sacrificing your body in the morning, sacrificing the body throughout the day, and at the end of the day, you're putting out a mountain full of food on the plate. What's that for? So ideally, we need to have breakfast. We need to have lunch. And I'm not talking about breakfast like it's in Coca-Cola or some kind of fizzy drinks in the morning. Have a proper breakfast, proper lunch, and then at the end dinner. In between you can take up some snacks, tea, coffee, some few snacks. But proper breakfast, proper lunch, and proper dinner. And you must consistently have those three different varieties of food that's going to give you the energy, food that's going to build your body. When I said energy, I'm talking about taro, cow, yam, sago. These are energy food.
That's easily accessible for a lot of
Easily accessible.
Yeah.
Easily. Rice, yes, is part of the energy group. And then you need to have some bodybuilding, proteins, and then you need to have some protective, foods like greens. You need to have fish, fresh fish. You need to have fresh vegetables. So those food that makes and gives you that three class, basically for body nourishment.
And 3 times a day we must always
3 times
have.
a day you must have lunch, breakfast, and dinner, and have it consistently.
Yeah.
Because I see some people go without food, and then they try to sacrifice at the end. You know, body need food. Body is a living organism that needs food in every minute, seconds, and hour.
Okay.
So feeding those lunch, breakfast, and dinner is nice. So my advice in this session is to tell a lot of these Papua New Guineans to go back to basic, market. When I say market, basically I'm referring to the garden foods. Those traditional food, they're very healthy, unprocessed, naturally contain a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals, a lot of nutrients. That's good for the body. Then a lot of it's processed, factory-made food substances.
Okay, well, thank you, Doctor, for that message on healthy eating. And we hope to have you back on the show for another health topic.
Thank you very much for this segment too, Emily. Thank you.